No one paid attention to the quiet woman at the shooting range. They laughed at her old rifle. The famous champion pushed her aside. But when she fired her first shot, everyone stopped talking. Her bullet hit the exact center of the target. Now they all watched her. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe stories. The quiet shot. Maya wiped her sweaty palms on her worn jeans as she stood in line at the Oak Ridge shooting range. The place smelled of gunpowder and metal polish. All around her, men in tactical gear laughed and compared their expensive rifles. No one noticed the thin woman in her faded t-shirt clutching a simple case containing her father's old hunting rifle. "Next," called the board attendant. When Maya stepped forward, a tall man with a camouflage hat pushed past her. "Excuse me," Maya said quietly. "I was next." The man barely glanced at her. "I'm sure whatever you're doing can wait, honey. I've got practice for the championship tomorrow." The attendant looked between them, then shrugged and handed the man a lane assignment. Maya's cheeks burned with embarrassment, but she said nothing. Behind her in line, someone whispered, "That's Rick Donovan, 3-time regional champion. He practically owns this place." When Maya finally reached the counter, the attendant looked her up and down. "You sure you're in the right place, miss?" "Yes," Maya said firmly. "I'd like a lane for rifle practice, please." The attendant smirked. "Lane 12 is open. It's our beginner lane. Safety goggles and ear protection are mandatory." Maya nodded and walked to her assigned lane. She could feel the stares of the other shooters as she set up. Lane 12 was the shortest distance and had the largest targets, clearly meant for children or first-timers. Her hands shook slightly as she opened her case and assembled her rifle, an old Remington 700 that had belonged to her father. Two men in the next lane nudged each other. "Check it out. Think she even knows which end the bullet comes out of?" Maya pretended not to hear. She focused on the rifle in her hands, feeling its familiar weight. Her father's voice echoed in her memory, "Breathe, Maya. The rifle is just an extension of you." The championship shooter, Rick Donovan, was in lane 3, surrounded by admirers. His rapid-fire shots hit the center of the target nearly every time, and cheers erupted after each perfect round. When Maya loaded her first bullet, she heard muffled laughter. She put on her safety goggles and ear protection, then positioned herself carefully, just like Dad taught her. Feet shoulder-width apart. Rifle snug against her shoulder. Cheek resting against the stock. I aligned with the scope. Maya took a deep breath and released it slowly. The noisy range seemed to fade away. There was only her, the rifle, and the target. She squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, somehow louder than the others. A perfect hole appeared dead center in the target's bullseye. Maya calmly loaded another round and fired again. Another perfect shot, overlapping the first. By her third shot, the lanes beside her had gone quiet. By the fifth, people were pointing. By the 10th perfect shot, even Rick Donovan had stopped firing to watch. The range master approached, his face serious. "Miss, I think you're on the wrong lane. Would you like to try lane 3? Same distance as the championship tomorrow." Maya nodded and gathered her equipment. As she walked toward lane 3, people moved aside. Rick Donovan crossed his arms, his expression darkening. "Mind if I see your rifle?" the range master asked. Maya handed it over. He examined it carefully, eyebrows rising as he noted the scratched stock and worn grip. "Family heirloom?" he asked, returning it. "My dad's," Maya replied. "He taught me to shoot when I was 8. She set up at lane 3, aware that nearly everyone was watching now. The target here was much farther away, barely visible to the naked eye. "Need a better scope?" Rick called out loudly. "That antique probably can't hit anything past 20 yards. Maya didn't respond. She simply raised the rifle, adjusted her stance, and fired 10 shots in rapid succession. When the target was brought forward, the entire bullseye was gone, shot away completely. The range fell silent. "Who are you?" the range master finally asked. "Maya Evans," she said quietly. Recognition dawned on his face. "Not Sam Evans's daughter?" Maya nodded. "Sam Evans?" someone asked. "Olympic gold medalist, 1996, the range master explained. Retired after an injury. Disappeared from the shooting world completely." Rick Donovan stepped forward, face red. "This has to be a fluke. Or a trick. Nobody shoots like that their first time." "It's not my first time," Maya said softly. "I've been shooting since I was a child. Just never at a range." "Then why are you here now?" Rick demanded. Maya looked down at her rifle, running her fingers along the worn wood. "My father died last month. I found his competition entry form in his papers. He had registered for tomorrow's championship but never sent it in. So you're what, fulfilling his last wish? Rick sneered. No, Maya said. I'm entering myself. She turned to the range master. Is it too late to register? The range master looked at her perfect target, then back at her determined face. Registration closes in 30 minutes. I'll get you the paperwork. Rick stepped closer, towering over her. Listen, this is my championship. I've won 3 years running. This isn't some place for amateurs with sad stories too. Mr. Donovan, the range master interrupted. Perhaps you'd like to make a friendly wager? A little pre-championship exhibition? You against Ms. Evans here? The crowd murmured excitedly. Rick looked at Maya, then at the gathering crowd and realized he couldn't back down without losing face. Fine, he snapped. But when I win, she withdraws her application for tomorrow. And if I win? Maya asked. Rick laughed. Name your prize, honey. Maya thought for a moment. If I win, you donate your prize money tomorrow to the Veterans Rehabilitation Program my father founded. Rick blinked, surprised by the request. Fine. Not that it matters. You got lucky once. It won't happen again. The range master set up the contest. 5 shots each at 300 yards, standard competition targets. Rick would go first. Rick made a show of preparing, adjusting his expensive scope and checking the wind. His first 4 shots were nearly perfect, clustered tightly around the center. His 5th shot was slightly off, not enough to matter in most competitions, but noticeable in this high-pressure moment. When he finished, he turned to Maya with a smug smile. Beat that. Maya stepped up calmly. She didn't adjust her old scope or check any equipment. She simply raised the rifle, breathed deeply, and fired 5 times in smooth succession. When the target was brought forward, all 5 shots had gone through exactly the same hole in the dead center. The range erupted in cheers and exclamations. Rick's face went pale, then dark with anger. Impossible, he sputtered. No one can shoot like that. My father could, Maya said simply. And he taught me everything he knew. As the crowd surrounded her with questions and congratulations, Maya felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. For years she had kept her talent hidden, shooting only in the remote woods behind her father's cabin. After his injury had ended his career, he had become bitter about the sport, refusing to let Maya compete despite her obvious gift. The shooting world is full of politics and egos, he had told her. Your talent deserves better. But now, standing in the center of the very world he had rejected, Maya felt strangely at home. These were people who could appreciate what her father had given her, what they had shared. The next day, Maya arrived early for the championship. To her surprise, a small crowd was already waiting for her, including several reporters from local papers. Is it true you learned to shoot from Sam Evans? Have you ever competed before? Where have you been hiding all these years? Maya answered their questions politely but briefly. Inside she was trembling with nerves. This wasn't like shooting in the woods alone, or even like yesterday's impromptu contest. This was what her father had trained for all his life before his accident. Rick Donovan arrived surrounded by his usual entourage, but today they seemed subdued. Rick himself barely glanced in Maya's direction as he prepared his equipment. The competition began. 20 shooters, 3 rounds of increasing difficulty. After the first round, 10 would be eliminated. After the second, 5 more. The final 5 would compete for the championship. Maya completed the first round perfectly, as did Rick and 3 others. In the second round, Maya maintained her perfect score while 2 more shooters were eliminated. By the final round, the tension was unbearable. Rick's face was set in grim determination as he took his position. His shots were nearly perfect, the best he had ever shot according to the whispers around Maya. When her turn came, Maya felt a strange calm settle over her. She raised her father's rifle one last time, feeling as though his hands were guiding hers. Each shot felt perfect as it left the barrel. When the final scores were tallied, Maya had won by the narrowest of margins, a single point. The trophy ceremony was brief. As the range master handed Maya the championship cup, Rick stepped forward unexpectedly. Congratulations, he said, offering his hand. Your father would be proud. Maya blinked back tears as she shook his hand. Thank you. About that donation to the Veterans Program, Rick continued. I'd like to make it anyway, even though technically our bet only covered if I had won tomorrow. Now it was Maya's turn to be surprised. Why? Rick's expression softened. Your father's program helped my uncle after he came back from Afghanistan. I didn't connect the names until last night when I looked it up. Later, as reporters took Maya's photo with the trophy, she felt a strange mix of emotions. Joy at her victory, sadness that her father wasn't there to see it, and a new sense of purpose she hadn't expected. A week later, Maya returned to the Oak Ridge shooting range. This time, no one ignored her as she approached the counter. "Lane 3 is open, champion," the attendant said with a smile. Maya shook her head. "Actually, I'm not here to shoot today. I want to sign up as an instructor." "An instructor?" "For beginners," Maya explained. "Especially for people who might feel intimidated their first time here." The range master, overhearing, came over with a broad smile. "I think that's an excellent idea, Ms. Evans. We could use someone with your skills and your patience." As Maya filled out the application, she noticed a young girl watching wide-eyed from across the room. The girl's father was renting equipment, but the girl herself seemed hesitant, almost afraid of the noisy range. Maya smiled at her and received a shy smile in return. "You know," the rangemaster said, following Maya's gaze, "your father might have turned his back on the shooting world, but he never stopped teaching. Through you, his legacy continues." Maya nodded, thinking of all the quiet lessons in the woods, her father adjusting her stance and teaching her to breathe with the rifle. How he had shaped her talent in private even as he rejected the public world of competition. "The shooting world has its politics and egos," Maya said, echoing her father's words. "But it also has its moments of pure skill and focus. I think I'd like to share those moments with others." As Maya finished her paperwork, she looked around the busy range. No longer was she the ignored woman with the old rifle. Now she was exactly where she belonged, where perhaps she had always belonged. Not just as a champion but as a teacher, ready to spot talent in those who might otherwise be overlooked. Just as she had been before that first perfect shot changed everything.